Hi, good morning. My name is Dick Larson. So let's start talking about blossoms, which really connects math and science we teach to the real world. We can talk about how mosquitoes fly in the rain, the physics of flying kites, something called Tragedy of the Commons, which you might want to look at on our website. A lot of teenagers are interested in social media. Here in the US, it's Facebook and Twitter. And we even have a Blossoms lesson on the social media. Whether your friends on Facebook should have more friends than you do. And it's quite interesting and challenging and quite mathematical. So let's get to Blossoms. We're now nearing the end of year 8 of Blossoms. It's an initiative of MIT in Cambridge, Massachusetts. And basically you take math and science video lessons created by volunteer educators from around the world. They can be professors, they can be high school teachers, they can be students. And we have lessons from all three kinds of people. And we're very proud that we have 10 country partners. So you see the faces of Blossoms represent many different countries and cultures. Now, if you look closely here, you can see Pakistan represented in these faces of Blossoms. We have more faces of Blossoms. And if you look closely here, you can see Pakistan represented here as well, plus many other countries. So what is Blossoms? Well, first of all, the price is right. It's free. It's a free online library of interactive video lessons for high school math and science classes. Now, sometimes when we say video lessons, people's eyes glaze over and they say, oh, just more videos. Don't think of it that way. Think of these video segments as very short, and the majority of the class time, the video is off and there's active learning exercises going on in the classroom. These are not long videos that are going to put students to sleep. The teachers and students are involved with active learning experiences and exercises. So how do we do this? Well, we call it a teaching duet pedagogical model. Teaching duet pedagogical model. Here's a picture in nearby Concord, Massachusetts, of the in-class teacher teaching a Blossoms lesson. And you see the teacher in the video, the Blossoms lesson, is on a screen in front of the class. That's the teaching duet. There are two teachers. There's the live in-class teacher, who is extremely important, you in Pakistan, and then there's our Blossoms video teacher, who once they make a video, is freely available to the world in any country. And then you see the students sitting in their regular seats with their computers put away and with their cell phones put away. So the teaching duet is blended learning. You're studying blended learning today. Means that each of the videos is designed to be viewed in brief segments. And so we blend the video looking and the live in-class teacher guiding the classroom through active exercises. So these are goal-oriented exercises outlined in an open source companion teacher's guide. Once the learning goal in each session is accomplished, the video is then turned on for the next segment. So segment transitions imply passing a baton from one person to the next. Now let's visit a Blossoms classroom in nearby Arlington, Massachusetts.
What was this one, 147,377?
That was the one that we got, and then we subtracted these two to get the second.
The one in the middle, good.
Yeah. Like the two sides combined have to be greater than or equal
Good.
to.
And they're all mixed up, and they're going to select two at random, and they're numbered 1 to 36. Let me pick out the first one here. He reaches in. He pulls out, it is a 24.
This doesn't form a triangle. These three don't form a triangle.
So if we did this experiment over and over again, what percent of the times do you think that the two randomly selected numbers would result in being able to make a triangle?
If we think about what we just saw from Arlington, Massachusetts, these students weren't just taking notes from the teacher at a blackboard giving a lecture. Not at all. It was quite an active learning experience. So the focus is not on memorization or rote learning, but on developing critical and creative thinking skills. So why do we need something like Blossoms? That's a question we always get. Well, if you think about it, we're one world economically. We have global economic expansion. And our children are going to have to be educated in ways differently than we were educated. They need to find jobs in the new economies. And we live in a knowledge age these days. And what does that mean? Well, that means in the old days, if a country was privileged by having a lot of coal or natural gas or gold or oil or silver buried underground, they could be a rich country, but no longer. Today, the most valuable natural resources of a country lie buried between the ears of its citizens. Here are two young ladies who are students, working very carefully and investing in their own learning. So how does Blossoms approach a problem? We like to examine an important topic from an unusual angle. We connect math and science to the real world. Often our Blossoms lessons start with a phenomenon like kite flying or donkey carts going around the streets of Lahore, Pakistan. And from that, we develop the science or the math. So it's a phenomenon first, usually, not, oh, today let's talk about the Pythagorean Theorem. We're going to start off with two proofs. We don't work that way. We show what real scientists and real mathematicians do, and we make science fun. I referred to Dr. Naveed Malik's donkey cart physics. Well, you see the donkey right here. This was a photograph from your Lahore, Pakistan. And if the owner of the donkey cart puts too much weight behind the axle, there's just one axle in a donkey cart, the poor donkey has too much weight in the back, and his feet go up in the air, his front feet go up in the air. And I have actually seen this myself, not scripted, in the streets of Lahore, Pakistan. So what is a Blossoms lesson not? Well, it's not a lecture, and I know many of you are comfortable with lectures. I, as a professor at MIT, am comfortable with lectures. So you have to get out of your comfort zone and think about teaching and learning in a different way. It's not a typical lesson from a textbook. Students can read textbooks. They can read them online. They can do Google searches. So that information is available. And it's not a passive experience for the students. It's quite an active experience for the students. So it's an interactive learning experience, approaches a topic from a new direction, connects math and science to the real world, and is active learning experience for the students. So what is a Blossoms concept? Well, it's a concept that's important. They should understand it, and it's difficult to teach. An example in physics would be angular momentum. How many of us really understand intuitively how a gyroscope works? So that's a difficult concept. It's widely misunderstood by students and oftentimes teachers. And it has real-world applications. So the number one goal for students is not to give them a standardized test and evaluate them on their scores, but it's for them to develop critical and creative thinking skills. Because this is what they're going to need once they graduate out of school and they join the professional workforce. The critical thinking skills that they develop based on fundamental knowledge of science and math will determine how successful they are. And for teachers, it's to help us. I'm a teacher, you're teachers. It's to help us learn a new style of teaching. A style of teaching which will get our students more prepared for the world they enter after they get out of organized school and into the adult professional world. So the goals of Blossoms show how exciting STEM can be. STEM is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Increase student interest in careers in STEM. Research has shown that a lot of teenagers kind of drop out of STEM kind of courses because they're too hard and they don't see them relevant to their own lives. And differentially, females tend to drop out in many countries faster than males do. So we have to pay attention to that as well. We want to connect abstract concepts to the real world. Engage students as scientists in observation, experimentation, discussion, and as I said before, and I'll say it again, enhance their development of critical thinking skills. Now, even if a student is going to become a lawyer or a doctor or a kite flyer professionally or something like this, we all need to be STEM literate as citizens of the world. And that way, individually and collectively, we become better decision makers about all the options in the world and the options that we face. So it's not only for PhD researchers, it's not only for professors at universities, it's not only for high school teachers of physics, biology, math, and other sciences, it's for all of us. In terms of teachers, we have found that the old-fashioned idea of video is the easiest way to introduce teachers to technology. So Blossoms is not the fanciest new app on a smartphone. It's not the fanciest way to do wireless this or that or mathematics-oriented games. We deliberately chose a technology which is mature and which is familiar to all of us no matter what our age is. And as a result of that, in the United States, the two largest teachers' unions, these are the organized sets of teachers which have over 5 million members in the United States. The two largest teachers' unions have us on their website and they endorse Blossoms. Whereas oftentimes teachers' unions don't like technology-enabled education because they view it as a threat to their job security. Why do the unions support Blossoms? Because their teachers, their union member teachers, are still in charge of the class with a teaching duet, pass the baton pedagogy. So they love Blossoms that way. Now, in terms of what do you need in the classroom, does your classroom need internet connection? No. You can go to an internet cafe, or if at home you have internet connections, you download the Blossoms video the night before or the week before and you study it. So you don't need internet connections in your classroom. All you need is some electricity and a projector or a television set to show the video in its short segments in front of the class. So we try to make it so that it's available for use in most places in the world. The central role of the classroom teacher, they often feel marginalized if the student is sitting in front of the computer. And I know you're doing blended learning today, and the majority definition of blended learning is half the time the student is sitting in front of a computer doing stuff on the computer, and the other half the time interacting with you, the teacher. Our definition of blended learning is different. Our blended learning is at most half the time the students are engaged in watching a Blossoms video lesson, 2 or 3 minute segments, and the majority of the time they're interacting with you with the video turned off. So that's our definition of blended learning. As you might expect, we prefer our definition to the other one. Why don't we now visit a Blossoms classroom in Malaysia?
Pertama, mereka nampak lebih berminat sebabnya dia menonton sesuatu, bukan hanya melihat pada saya saja, dapat berkomunikasi dengan baik. Sebab bila ada aktiviti yang kita minta mereka jalankan, dalam sepasukan tu mereka boleh berbincang. Masa 5 minit dah tamat. Okey, siap tak semua? Ya. Okey, bagus Okey, saya nak jawapan daripada wakil pada awak lah untuk bentangkan pada kelas semua.
Okay, question number 1. What makes Farid and his wife choose foam plated gate? Because it is water resistant, resistant to weather and corrosion, attractive and shiny.
Jadi kita sama saksikan jawapan dia pada video yang seterusnya lah.
Video tu sangat menarik. Seperti kita tahu manusia ni lebih cenderung kepada warna dan gambar. Boleh membantu saya belajar. Video browser ni ada maklumat-maklumat tambahan.
Well, we hope you liked that lesson from Malaysia. Malaysia's been one of our most active partners with Blossoms, and we're headed there again in September of this year. Please visit our Blossoms website. You can see all of our 170 plus Blossoms lessons there in 11 different languages, a few in Urdu. Most of those that have been made in Pakistan have been made in English as well. Well, there you have it. That's our quick tour of MIT Blossoms.